Yeah, that's live, baby.
Live, baby.
Sorry.
Hey.
I got one bird, you got one, and that day is the only two, man. How many times have I shown and proved, man? How many nights I've been woke, swerving the potholes.
Not trying to. All right, y'all know what it is. We back in the building. Episode question mark of the
this is 11.
End of Regulation podcast.
It's 11, right?
It's 11.
That's not right.
That's not right, but it sounds right. It feels
It's
right.
gonna be
11,
right today.
12, 13, whatever.
All right, so I'm gonna pass it over. What we got for topics?
Man. A lot of topics. A lot of good stuff. March Madness. Some crazy stuff happened over the weekend. Elite Eight, so hopefully your team's in. More than likely it's not unless you're a Michigan fan. Not if you're a Syracuse fan. I don't want to talk about it.
Go blue.
Yeah.
Go blue.
NBA free agency. That's been crazy. Andre Drummond to the Lakers and some other interesting stuff that I'm sure women watching don't care about.
Well, what do they care about?
Well,
What topics we got for
one of them is why is it okay for African American males to date interracially but not African American women?
We gonna talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then also, if you didn't know, now you know. And then also, black businesses. Why are we so hesitant to support black businesses, but we will support, our counterpart, or the opposite?
Because they don't be
So trusting. What is really going on with that? So a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're gonna get into it here. I'm David Ruffin, and these are the Temptations. We have a new person in the group tonight. He's from the High Tops, and he decided to join us tonight.
Here from Harold Melvin and Blue.
Yeah, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. It's Harold. Everybody, Harold, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man.
Harold wasn't actually the biggest person.
Yeah,
in the
Teddy.
group.
Teddy
I'm
P.
saying Teddy was the.
Turn off the lights.
Hey.
We'll keep them on.
We'll keep them on.
All right, so we're gonna hit
Long
these
as Dad's
intros real
watching.
quick. Jamal has started off. If you want to shout
Hey,
out.
just really quick, are we okay for sound? I'm seeing comments saying that we're muted.
Nope,
Are we
we're
muted
good.
on purpose?
We're good. We were for a second, though.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, Jamal all the way in Wisconsin, but my guys is in Michigan, so let's get it going.
You already know what it is. Contrary to what he said, I ain't nobody's temptation.
Yeah, you're not.
I think we knew that. I think we knew that already.
Hey, Jason, don't you have a...
That was a perfect setup.
I was.
He said, I'm not tempting nobody to do nothing.
He said, "You're goddamn right."
What you mean? That's the song. Like, I'm not a backup. Is what I'm saying.
No, but we were saying.
No, nobody's temptation.
I get what you.
I mean, we get it.
I get what you.
I mean, we get it. We understand. It's okay.
Yeah, we get your meaning. But
Hey, my mom.
these sound effects are gonna be trouble.
Yeah, we got 36 of them we could save. So,
Hey, my mama loved me. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Mama said. Mama said.
Oh, that's my mama. Love me.
My mama said.
So Jamal Coleman in Wisconsin. Derek, go ahead.
It's your boy Derek. You can follow me on Instagram. I am _Mr. Battle 23.
Ken, our special guest.
Hey, what's going on? I'm happy to be here on the podcast. And just follow these guys. They are more exciting and more important. So...
Like Ken says, per usual, you don't have to follow me, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, you don't have to follow me.
Matthew Frierson, Instagram, Matthew Frierson. MATTHEWFRIERSON. Go ahead, Blake.
All right, so I already did mine. Cause
Okay,
I'm afraid to say nothing now. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
just go ahead and
yeah.
get into this topic.
Okay, so March Madness. Michigan and who's the Elite Eight? So you got Michigan and UCLA. Then you got USC and Gonzaga, right? And then Baylor and who's another?
Oregon State?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Baylor, Oregon State, and then there's one more, right?
There is, sorry,
One
fact
more
checking really
group.
quick. And then we have, Houston, Oregon State, Baylor, and Arkansas.
Baylor and Arkansas. It's been a crazy tournament. And listen, before I've always said,
Wait, that's not right. Didn't UCLA just win?
yeah,
Oh, no, that was
Yeah.
Alabama. My bad.
UCLA did win.
yeah,
No, UCLA. I thought UCLA played Arkansas, but it was Alabama. Excuse me. My bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, March Madness is usually, even though it's madness, usually the blue bloods shine through. Toward right around this part, and so to be able to see, USC, UCLA, Oregon State, Baylor. This is probably the most exciting March Madness I've seen to date, and that's not an exaggeration.
And we thought it was going to be boring.
And we thought it was going to be boring. We did. Not boring, but just
Not fun to watch.
Not fun to do.
Not worth my time.
yeah.
sure.
Like every year it's madness, but it's predictable madness to a degree, if that makes sense. Like we always expect some team to be, the sleeper or the Cinderella. So in that
And I feel
regard,
like it's like 3 Cinderella teams.
oh yeah, oh man, more than 3. There's a ton of teams that I feel like, we didn't expect to be here, and so it's been fun to watch, especially Michigan fans. That's exciting to see Michigan. But Michigan went to the national championship the last 2 times out of 2 times in 5 years or something like that.
Go
You guys
blue.
have been to the Elite Eight 4 times out of the last 8 years?
Yeah,
Something like
this is impressive.
that? Extremely.
So I'm excited to see what we can do against UCLA, and I think we'll beat them. It'll be a blowout. We have nothing for Gonzaga though. Nothing.
Does anybody have anything for Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Gonzaga got that work, bro. It's
But USC matches up well. Just looking at how they played Oregon, looking at their size, looking at their defensive set, I think USC can play them well. But this is Gonzaga's year. They're looking at their setup and everything like, hey, we don't have to worry about Duke. We don't have to worry about Kansas. We don't have to worry about Villanova, Kentucky, any of those teams. So in their mind, this is the year to do it.
This is a guaranteed Final Four for Gonzaga, and if they fail at that, then throw the whole program away.
But I will say, if any team is going to beat them, it's going to be Michigan.
Exactly. It's a guaranteed Final Four. I'm not guaranteeing the championship,
to
but they have to
say
play
that.
Michigan next round.
So I
was
will.
hard for me to
Ron
say.
Howard got them boys playing.
I will put this out there that my ESPN bracket is sitting at 70% because all my Final Four teams still in it. So
Who's your Final Four?
my Final Four was Gonzaga, Michigan, Houston, and Baylor. They all. Still
I didn't even do it.
I think you filled your bracket out as it was happening. But it's neither here nor there.
No, he just filled it out before he got here.
Yeah, it's neither here nor
They
there.
put that shit out tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, if that's how y'all feel.
Yeah,
I got Gonzaga winning the whole thing though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I also do, though.
Me too.
Above Michigan?
I got Michigan and Gonzaga as left in my Final Four, but everyone else is dead.
Yeah. They're the only Gonzaga's the only team that hasn't struggled.
Yeah.
Michigan I guess hasn't necessarily either, but I think it's gonna be fun. This is exciting to see. Like I said, these other teams. I want the NBA to do this. I really want to see a March Madness format, one and done format for the NBA. I think viewership would be through the roof. I think it'd be through
but
the
there's too
roof.
much money in that.
You know what?
There's too much money in that for that 7-game series for them to cut all that out to just play one game.
I feel like they should do that and the finals be 7 games.
Plus, it's easier
Yeah,
for the
that's not bad
NCAA
idea.
because all these
That's
guys
a
are
good
under one roof. And then if you're talking about the playoffs, they travel all the time. So they would have to
Take
agree
them
on
back to the bubble.
Like the battle just said, you do one game elimination, and then the finals would be 7 games. I think that'd be entertaining.
And then take them back to the bubble. Might as well.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it won't happen. They need to do something with it. I think people are starting to get, now people are saying, the games are fixed because of, how different series go. And, and I don't think it's that so much as I think teams just, teams prepare differently. You know what I mean? And I think when you got a 7-game series, not that they're not taking it seriously. I think they're just,
But they plan for the next game
Yeah,
accordingly.
yeah,
As opposed to giving it all out that one game.
yeah. I mean, they say that they focus on the game they're playing in, but I think I think teams look at, we get into a game 3 situation. We want to do this. I think they look ahead.
Especially if you get down like 15, they're like, oh, I got another game.
Yeah. Well, that's how players think for sure. I think players think for sure, well, we lost this one. So, you know what I mean? This is my opinion, but
But before we move into the NBA or get off the NCAA, I wanted to raise the women of the NCAA tournament, especially
Kind of
those
South Carolina.
Did we prep for that?
No, Jamal can get us real time. I don't know who's. I haven't seen any really of the March Madness tournament. Like I just haven't had an opportunity to, men's or women. But I followed the program down in South Carolina. I spent time on that campus.
Okay.
Dawn Staley is an amazing coach.
She's dope.
I spent time with her and that program, and what she's done is just remarkable since she's been in South Carolina.
She's dope.
And I saw that they had posted that they went to bed elite. They went to bed sweet, but woke up elite or something like that. So shout out to the Gamecocks, to Dawn Staley, to the women Gamecocks, and all the women's sports too. Because that was the issue, right?
Yeah.
One of the issues, even this year, like you saw the
divide.
The disparity, really.
That was crazy. Like,
Even the official
they literally
NCAA Twitter.
had like a grandma's work set for their gym, and then the guys had like an entire arena of weights.
right, the hotel that they stayed in had a better weight room than what they gave them.
Probably.
But this is my question. Why? Look, we're talking about rest and preparation. And these women are athletes. Why is this even why is this even a thing? Why aren't they afforded the same, amenities that the men are? I don't understand that.
Why?
And the WNBA isn't broke. Like they, you know what I'm saying? Like they can definitely give these women more than a jail cot and a couple dumbbells.
Right, but it's not the WNBA.
I mean, I'm sorry,
the
the
NCAA.
NCAA. That's what I meant.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the
Money.
NCAA, they're thinking of it as like the term. When you say March Madness, they think of the male tournament, which I mean is in a fault of its own by marketing and everything else. But I mean, I thought the girls got a sure hand. That's trash. That's embarrassing if you're the NCAA.
And listen, I don't know all that goes on in terms of university budgets. And I know, Ken, you worked in university, but I would imagine there's got to be money somewhere that can be allocated to getting these women better.
There's
better
plenty of
minutes.
money.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. There's it's
money.
unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And I just think you put out there basically that women are, at least you feel that what they do is inferior and insignificant, which
Well, it's a reflection of society and dominant culture, mainstream culture, any minority group, including women. I mean, it's a continuation of it. It's a continuation of systems of inequities. But I mean, those games are fun.
Yeah, they're fun to watch though.
Every game is fun. You know what I mean? Like every
Like that.
game is fun, and so to play it off as it's like the B.
Yeah, a B-side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's a disservice to the NCAA and its fan base, and the NCAA has to do better.
Absolutely.
Is that Baylor and UConn game tonight? I know it's gonna be lit.
Baylor and UConn is right now. It is down to the wire. 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. UConn is up by 3.
See,
Wait, also, we're talking about March Madness, but the Elite Eight games are going on right now too, right?
Right now, they are going on right now.
Well, you ask scores.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always plugged.
While he's doing that, listen, I think last year when that girl, I'm going to ruin her name, but Aguna Bawale or something like that, she played for Notre Dame.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and when she hit the game winner in the semis and then hit the game winner in the national championship, to me, I was like, okay, I can watch a little bit more. I mean, it was just, and it showed you that they're just as competitive. They're just as
skill.
intense. They're just as passionate. They're just as skilled. I don't know. Do I think women's sports is going to turn the corner? Unfortunately, I don't.
I don't know about that, bro.
No, they're not.
I
They're
seen-
not,
I
bro.
seen that
How many
highlight-
years have they been around?
I seen like hundreds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think I seen that video that I put in the chat of that 7th grader. She basically took off and dunked in game.
Oh, yeah, I just.
Yeah.
But I think we look at that as, oh, that's cute. Or, oh, that's cool. She can dunk. Like, but we don't take it seriously.
In
Like,
the
I want to
seventh-
watch
in
them
7th
play.
grade though, what's she gonna be doing when she get to high school or college?
I mean, Brittany Griner. We don't care about her.
Bruh,
she was probably doing the same thing.
She was like these. Brittany Griner's just like
They lowered the
Brittany
rim.
Griner is 7 foot.
she lowered the rim.
They lowered the rim.
How did you turning the feminist? Into
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Do I think? Let's be honest. None of us are gonna start watching women's basketball that closely like we watch men's basketball.
I watch every season. Anyway, so you know who I am watching though? I'm watching the old girl at UConn, the one that was, I don't know if she wasn't, I feel like she was Kobe's disciple, but she's probably like a guard, blonde, white girl.
Paige.
Paige
That
Bucket.
got bucket.
Yeah,
Paige
got,
Booker,
yeah, she's
Booker,
a buck. She's
Booker.
a bucket.
She's a bucket, bro.
Paige Buckers.
How many points she got?
I don't know. She be
Right now, she is sitting at 28.
bro, and
But
she's a
what-
freshman.
And,
she's a-
Baylor
Oh,
is
she's-
down by
Now,
one.
I will say
in
this.
UConn ball.
I will say this. Having spoke to different girls that play basketball, from what I was told, ESPN, my sources have told me that it's easier for women in those different sports to be better than their competition. And what I took from that was, if you're good and you're a girl, it's easier for you to be like really good and play and go to the next level. Whereas guys, there's so many that are really good. And she was like, yeah, the girls are good. But she said there's some that are just like, there's more that are just like not on the same level as anybody else. And so if you're like really good, you can punch your ticket. And that can be as early as high school. Whereas guys, you can be great in high school and there's a million other guys that are great in high school.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
The whole team
but
is just
I
as good
also,
as you.
I
Yeah.
also think it's the focus too. I feel like as guys, we push. Like I feel like every guy in this room has wanted to be a professional athlete at one time or another. Even if you
Ken
don't.
wanted to be the president. Ken didn't really. He wanted to be the president of the United States.
Well, I'm
At
sure
5
at
years
one
old,
day
he was giving
the thought has crossed
His
your mind
inauguration
about being.
speech.
But I would take, athletic principles.
There you go. There you go.
Athletic benefits.
There you go.
But as far as turning the corner, I mean, depending on exactly what you mean by turning the corner, I think you have to consider how far women's sports is behind men's sports just altogether.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I think the turning is happening, but when we'll see some of these other manifestations of equality in the sports, I don't know if we'll see it soon, but I hope we will see it. And I mean, because it's the same thing. That's probably why they, if you're saying that they can be better than their, because we don't condition them to be athletes in society, where we condition, kind of what Blake is saying, boys to do that. And so, I mean, it's hard to compare them because it's like, it's like running a race, and you give the men's sports, however many decades head start. But as an official, so I officiate sports, the level of competition and the level of enjoyment from an official standpoint, I mean, it's really just, it's the game. And it's speaking specific about basketball, it's the game of basketball. Whether you got the boys or girls, I mean, I officiate boys or girls. So like, but women or men sport, I don't know. I think you just enjoy the game. I think you enjoy the game.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
I mean, I don't disagree with Blake or Ken on any of that. I will say, I mean, when you watch it, okay, you officiated boys and girls. When you watch the girls play, even though they haven't, maybe not all of them have been conditioned that you got to do this, but when you watch them play, they all take it just as seriously. Like when you watch a girls' game, they're out there playing. Like they're not out there for the heck of it. Like you would think, especially on certain levels, AAU and high school girl. I mean, they're out there playing because they want to be out there playing. And I mean, I think in their mind they're like, yeah, we do it just like guys do it. You know what I mean? It's like to say like, yeah, were they primed differently? Sure. But then I think that there's a contingency of them who are like, I was working just as hard as he was working. You know what I mean? So it's almost, I feel like we're We're doing what the NCAA is doing to them right now by giving excuses to a degree of, well, you know, it ain't like this because they haven't been taught like that. But then there's countless girls that'll say, dude, you don't know how long I was like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
You want with me shooting in the gym?
you know what I
I
mean?
was just talking about turning the corner for sports in general, though.
Oh.
Like I'm saying,
like
men's
as
sports has such a
viewership.
head start. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So talking
yeah.
about, I mean, it's just like
forget
sometimes
it.
when
That's what
you
I'm
say
saying.
March Madness, it's synonymous with
Men.
yeah, you know. So,
Yeah.
but that's because of the. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about the head start that men's sports.
And the women should be bringing us snacks when we're watching March Madness anyway. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I didn't know they-
I'm kidding.
that
Can I
note.
just?
Yeah,
Can
I
I
didn't know
just-
they played at the same time.
yeah,
I
Do
didn't
they
either.
always play at the
I
same
didn't
time?
yeah.
Does this tournament? So the women's tournament goes on at the same time every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roughly, they both.
It might start like a week
Yeah.
after.
Yeah,
What's-
but it's overlap. Most of it overlaps.
What's really bad is that a lot of times when we finally pay attention is when one of the girls is good and also very attractive. Like that's when it becomes, oh yeah, I watched a little bit. Like Skylar Diggins. I mean, niggas everywhere stopped to watch Skylar Diggins, and it wasn't because of her crossover. I mean, that was just a
This awkward silence.
that was.
What?
I mean, okay, listen. Don't get me turned up already. We just got on here. So you mean to tell me that none of y'all in this group chat, and I have receipts, have not, yeah, while we cacking over there, none of y'all have watched a specific player because you thought she was fine.
Skylar Diggins is fine. Like,
Okay,
why would
then
you
what's
ask
Asking
me to
dumb
say-
questions.
Then-
Like,
okay,
why
then what
did
is we
you-
sitting there going, it's the awkward silence to tell you, okay, it's
I'm
true.
laughing at Blake saying that shit. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, like it's true. We all have.
Candace
all
Parker
done
is
that.
fine.
Candace
Candace
Parker
Parker.
scares me.
I
Candace
do
Parker
hey,
is fine.
No, Ken, I'm with you. I think Candace
She's
Parker
fine, but
scares me.
I would
Why
don't
does
know.
she scare you?
not
Why-
scare me, but she's just very tall.
Any
And I
woman
just-
that's the same height as Matt.
or taller. No, not the
taller.
same.
Nah,
height.
taller
she's,
than
Not
Matt.
the-
taller.
she's like 6'9".
Yeah, she's battle. She's
She's
your
like
height.
7'2".
But if she was
She's not
like,
bad. She's taller than Battle. What
no,
do you
she's
mean?
6'4".
Bro, she's look it up. She's taller.
How tall are you? How tall are you?
6'3".
He's 6'4". So what?
No,
So,
he's 6'3". So I mean, when I say scared, that wasn't the correct word. I think she's very attractive. I think her height would disqualify my interest. But she's very attractive. She's just too tall. She's way too tall.
Damn.
I'm being
Battle,
honest
yeah,
though.
she's-
I mean,
she's
I said
6'4".
Candace Parker is fine, but I'm being honest. I don't think that I ever. I'm serious. I don't think I've ever watched her because she's fine. Like I not watched her basketball game.
Yeah, I've never been like intrigued
I
to
watched-
watch
Yeah,
her
since
'cause she's
Tennessee, I
fine.
think I've watched her to appreciate her game. But she just happens to be attractive.
That's wonderful, guys. So, can I get? So no, okay. I'll be honest. When Skylar Diggins, yeah, she was good, but I tuned in because it was like, oh, she's good and she's fine, and I'm okay with that. Moving on. Okay with that.
Anywho,
Real quick, let's just breeze through NBA free agency because I do want to talk about some of the moves that are being made. New Jersey Nets getting LaMarcus Aldridge, possibly getting Kendrick Nunn here soon. That it's over. It's over, and I'll be the first to tell you that the Brooklyn Nets stay healthy and they're gonna win the national or the NBA Finals. It's just at this point, it's just too much. You got too much. They had too much when they had KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. It was too much. Now you add those pieces, and they're filling the positions that they need. And they have money for one more buyout. They have money for one more buyout. So that means somebody else is coming to Brooklyn that's a big name. I mean, it's over. It's over.
JaVale McGee.
No, he went to Denver.
They don't need
did go
another
to-
big.
don't need another-
What do they need?
They need
though?
a- I would say
trade deadline over.
I think someone like, even though he's traded to the Celtics, someone like a Fournier, whatever, how you ever say his name, somebody to come
Kevin
off the
Fournier.
bench and give them 20.
So
Somebody,
is,
as a guard. I think that'd be huge for them.
Is Jamal Crawford still playing?
No, he didn't get picked up. I
nah,
don't
he
think.
didn't.
No, but he was last on Brooklyn. But if Lou Will got a buyout from Atlanta, that'd be dope.
No,
Lou Will hasn't
to
even
go
been
to go to the Nets. You want Lou Will to go there too?
I don't want any of them to be there.
Why? I don't understand why people aren't excited for this Brooklyn Nets reset.
What the
Well,
hell?
actually,
Excited?
bro, do they really
Then
need?
Don't watch TV and you'll know what happened.
I mean, I don't understand why people aren't like when LeBron puts all these different teams together and does all these different things. It's like it's excitement. It's the King needs another one. The King and then like Brooklyn does it now and everybody hates it. And I'm like,
because they're monsters.
this has been the league. This has been the league for the last almost decade. Like we've seen this. Like
what I will say is
since 08 we've seen this, and now
no, but man, we talked about this before. But what I will say is that I'm tired of the LeBron narrative and not the KD narrative.
Oh,
because
God.
KD has had multiple super teams, and that seems like that's all he can do to win. But no one ever talks about KD building super teams, but everyone bashes LeBron.
I think that's a valid point.
That's not a valid point.
That's extremely
And I'm
valid.
gonna tell you why.
In OKC, he got tired because Russell Westbrook kept taking shots away from him. So then he goes to Golden State, that was one at 73-9 team. He won 2 championships, and the next thing he does is goes to Brooklyn with Kyrie and James Harden.
Okay,
When
first
they
of all,
knew
he went with Kyrie. James
They
Harden
knew-
came
they
He
knew-
went with Kyrie, but they were hurt the entire year. And then
But
the first time they're both on the floor,
But
they said,
Harden
"Let's
was
get James
going
Harden."
there in the first place.
Okay,
He
but
said
thi-
in the offseason he was going there.
But this is what I want to say. I'm not listen. If you want to blame KD because we gotta blame LeBron, that's fine. But you have to understand, LeBron championed these types of moves, bro. This is what he did it for, was so people could go where they want to go, play with who they want to play with, do these.
overkill.
So you can't be pissed off at KD and not pissed off at LeBron.
I'm just saying that
KD's
But nobody
the
is
name
pissed off
actually
at
needs to
KD.
be involved with his name. I'm not mad at him.
I don't think people care about what KD did. I don't think they look at it the same, bro.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'll
Like,
say some crap about LeBron. I don't want to hear it. Jamal pissed me
Blake,
off with that.
Blake, finish your
go
point.
ahead.
I was
finish
just
your
gonna
point.
make the general point that we get on LeBron, we get on KD about wanting to play with players that are the same caliber as their level or better. Like, y'all have never wanted to work with people that are competent at your level at work. Like,
Absolutely.
nobody wants to be at work working with a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, or people that make their life harder. So the way I see it is, why not build the super teams? Plus, in this day and age, everybody's friends. Everybody works out together in the off season. How many times have you worked out with somebody and be like, yo, what? You know, we would be a dog ass combo if we were together. You know
I
what
don't.
I mean?
Yeah.
That analogy doesn't make sense to
Bro,
me.
then you're drunk.
Because I'm not actively going out to Wells Fargo and like competing against them.
Jamal,
every
don't take it so like you get. I
I'm
think
just
you
saying,
you
like,
get.
that,
No,
I mean,
Okay.
it's a competitive
It
game.
does make sense because on days, think about it. If you worked at where do you work?
You
Chase,
want
Chase, right?
You want everybody.
If
on
you
your
worked at
team.
Chase
Five
and
credit
and everybody there was totally incompetent in their job, so that you have to do everybody's job for them, and you got to do everything. You bringing on new customers, you
selling accounts.
managing, you overseeing accounts, you doing all this stuff, and you overworked, even though they pay you good money. You're gonna be like, yo, after a while, you're like, forget this. I don't want to be here.
I'm out to a place that has a better infrastructure, that has better employees, that has better management, so I don't have to do all the work. Jamal, you
That's
understand that,
everybody,
right?
Is this a fair statement?
Go ahead.
Is this a
Go ahead, Ken, go ahead.
a very fair question? Did LeBron do this and establish teams and they like coalesce? He built them around him. It almost seems like KD goes and joins other
that's the
people.
difference.
I mean,
I will. So
That's
let me
different.
to interject that. I
Jones,
will say Brooklyn was trash before KD got there.
yeah, Katie and Kyrie.
Like
showed
the
up
only
the
thing
same
they
time.
had was D'Angelo Russell, and he's a basket case in himself, which they traded him for Kyrie, like eventually or whatever happened. But so Brooklyn wasn't going anywhere anyway. So him and Kyrie going there together was the same kind of as like Bron and Chris Bosh going to the Heat together.
But this-
And you also can't help. You can't help what your GM does.
Okay.
You know,
and-
most of the time.
That's my thing. I'm not mad. I'm just saying like
And then-
this is overkill.
and it was anyway. It was overkill in Miami. Okay, it was overkill in Miami. But let me just say
okay,
that
so how was
Dwayne-
it? Explain
okay,
to me how
okay,
it was
so
overkill in Miami, but not
LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Ray Allen. That's overkill.
Okay.
But Ray
Ray
Allen,
Allen
Yeah, it is.
was his career.
Ray Allen didn't come to the third year.
Okay, well he at some point he got there. So this is what I'm trying to say. To jump off of what you said or to
Yeah.
retort. Okay, so here's the issue. LeBron created it, and how he did it was how he did it. But once you decide to create whatever formula and you make the standard that, hey, guys should be able to do this, then guys are going to take it and they're going to manipulate it and do it however they want to based off that model. So I think may not be the same exactly as LeBron, but he's doing his own version of it because of LeBron breaking through and saying players should have this freedom. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's not the same, but he's following the same model of I should be able to do what I want. And like Blake said, bro, when we play open gym, bro, we sit there and we're like, okay, don't play this game. Don't play this game so we can go play.
Mr. Free
like,
throw, man.
Mr. Free throw so we can be on the same team. Like, we do that in regular ball. So what do you think these pros do when a ring is on the line, bro?
Okay, but nobody can call LeBron weak and not call KD weak.
I mean, if people want to call KD weak, I don't mind. It don't bother me. As long as LeBron's weakness stands.
I'm gonna throw out a
That's
stat.
what this whole conversation's been about, and you've been defending it.
I'm gonna throw out a stat, and at first I was in the same, forget LeBron train, but every NBA champion for the last at least 30 years has had 2 Hall of Famers on. Every single team. So if you look into your left and you look into your right, and you the only one that's headed to the Hall of Fame, you need to go find another team because you're not getting it.
Can I ask a question? Just preliminary. Who the hell is on the Hall of Fame for the Raptors?
You said what?
Who's the second Hall of Famer for the Raptors? Are we putting Kyle Lowry in the Hall of Fame?
No, the question was what Hall of Famers were playing when the Raptors beat Golden State?
Well, Kawhi Leonard's a Hall of Famer. I'll give him that. But who the hell is the other?
Kyle Lowry's a Hall of
Kyle
Famer.
Lowry will be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, he's a Raptors legend. He'll be a Hall of
get
Famer
there.
off that alone.
What about DeRozan?
I mean, listen, off
man, if you
career
wanna stay on
alone,
this
because
show.
Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, sure.
Serious question. No, Kyle Lowry.
So my bad. One team in the last 30 years.
Yeah, but they only won because of injury. I mean, let's be honest. If Golden
they're
State was
fully
at full
healthy.
strength, they weren't beating them.
So we're talking about one team
Yeah,
in the last
come on,
30,
man.
at least 30 seasons. I stopped the 90 at the 90, 80. Actually, you can go back to the 80. What was the Lakers were before that, and the Bad Boys. How many Hall of Famers were on those teams?
Yeah.
So we're talking like mid 80s, probably 70s.
But let me.
What's the other? That back-to-back Rockets team? Are we putting Horry or Kenny the Jet in the Hall of Fame?
Ori, first of all, and
Horry got piggyback 7 rings, but that's
but Elijah Wan, wasn't he on that team?
Elijah
well,
Elijah
I'm
Wan.
saying he said there was more. He said 2 or more.
Okay, well,
I'm not saying just
Robert
one.
Ori is a Hall of Famer,
Who was the guy?
Okay.
and so is Kenny the Jet Smith.
in a year where Michael Jordan said,
They
"I'm
in
gonna
the
go
Hall
play
of Fame?
baseball."
But here's the thing though, because that's an interesting stat that I assume is true, that I'll accept.
Right.
I'll
I'll
accept.
fact check that right now.
But this is all I'm saying. Like, but then can we name? But aren't there other teams with 2 or more Hall of Famers that are not? I mean, I guess I'm just thinking that don't most teams have like
2 Hall of
2
Famers.
Hall of Famers? I mean,
Yeah.
No.
I just feel like whoever wins the championship will have ended up with 2 Hall of Famers. I mean, minus a few teams here and there that are not
Yeah.
even competing. But
Yeah, there's no. I mean, if they're not
Robert Horry's
one
in
when
the
it
Hall of Fame.
happens, they like at the end of it they will have become one.
because I'd argue
Yeah.
that I'm with every home team, but that 04 Pistons team at the time, I mean, were those Hall of Famers? They are now.
Rashid was. I think Rashid.
You know,
Rashid,
like
and Ben
Rashid
was.
maybe. Ben, I mean, I'm with.
Chauncey.
I think
Chauncey.
Chauncey should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Chauncey.
And
Matter of
Chauncey,
fact,
for
I
sure.
think all 5 of them should be in the Hall of Fame one day. The 5 starters,
hell?
the 5 starters, including Tayshaun.
That was my.
Yeah, including Tayshaun.
If you're gonna say including, he should be in.
All right. So I got the list.
But this is all I'm saying. Hold on, this is what I'm saying. All 5 of
lost
them
me.
should be in the Hall of Fame, but in 04,
Were they all Hall of Fame?
yeah, I mean, like maybe
Maybe
Rashid.
one. Maybe Rashid. Maybe Rashid was the main one. He was probably the for sure. He was the definite Hall of Famer. Rashid was.
And number 2 for me actually would be Billups before Wallace.
Facts.
Before Ben Wallace,
Yeah.
I should say.
It's hard because Ben Wallace was the heart and soul.
And
you
Chauncey
you don't have Ben. I know people are gonna go crazy. I think you can find a comparable Ben, a guy that's comparable to Billups. I don't think you can find another Ben Wallace at that time.
that era?
At that time.
At that time, I don't
At
think
that
I don't
time,
think you
there
could
was not-
replace either one. I think you could have replaced I don't. That's the hard part about that team.
Yeah, they were all. They
That's
all worked.
They worked as one unit.
Yeah.
That was like one team that
Everybody matters.
everybody knew their part. Like even the bench, like McDyess.
Hey, Matt,
Yes,
didn't we have a conversation in the group chat that y'all called Chauncey Billups comparable to Kyle Lowry?
I hope not.
Somebody said
That was in the conversation
we
that
had-
y'all
I
said
don't know
that
who it
Chauncey
was.
Billups
I
was
think
comparable
we
to
had that
Kyle Lowry.
conversation.
We might have, but
I don't remember who
the
said
person
it.
who said that is no longer in the group chat.
well, it might have.
Speaking of group chat, though, Shelton said, "What up? You guys peep the comments at all?
I got
Because your brother's been saying some stuff. So,
My brother and
That's-
my dad.
that's-
I don't know,
It's his
Junior.
father, Junior.
Shelton, I'm so
Father.
glad that you're not here
That's-
today, man, so that I can be here. But
Yeah, Shelton said, "What up?"
Get
But
back
you
with
said that
him,
was
man.
your dad then?
Yeah. Kenneth Frierson
Ken
Jr.
Frierson
is
Jr.
my
is
dad.
his
Okay.
dad.
Okay. So yeah, he said
He said
2010 Lakers are a great example of a winning title, or without a super team.
Yeah, but
winning a
they
title
were-
without a super
but
team.
that was a good
The
team.
2010 Lakers have at least 2 Hall of Famers on there.
And everybody
Because
used to
y'all
say
have
Paul-
consistently told me that Paul Gasol is
No,
not a Hall of
I've
Famer.
always
No.
said
No.
that Powell was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, me too.
The
But
guy
who's
who is
the-
no
who's
longer
the
in the
second?
group chat has said that
Paul
that
Gasol was a
Gasol
good
is no
power
Hall of
forward at
Famer.
that time.
Listen,
But did
he was
y'all
a-
say Hall of Famer?
I mean,
He was at least,
okay. Let me ask this honest question: is Lamar Odom a Hall of Famer?
Hell no.
but he was a good
Is he
player.
in
At
the-
that
Who
time.
was
I
on
know he's in the
crack?
crack Hall of Fame. No, but is he? I mean, let's
Yeah.
really stop and think about it. Is Lamar Odom? Is he at least third, fourth ballot?
I don't want to make this too
He's a
deep.
Hall of Fame
Look, I don't want to
six-man
make this
who's
too
not in the
deep.
Hall of Fame.
But what is a Hall of Famer? Like what gives us good feelings and how they played and how they, you know what I mean? The whole package,
For the
or what
most-
the
I think a
NBA
perennial all-star.
criteria is.
For the
I
most
think
part,
perennial
it's
all-star.
numbers. Yeah, most
I
part
would
it's
say perennial
consistent
all-star.
numbers.
And maybe
Unless you the
but-
Pistons and then you just got in because they just work together as a good unit.
He was one of the best 6 men of all time.
I think the 2010 Lakers. I think the 2010 Lakers were. They didn't have pronounced all-star.
But they had what the Pistons had.
this
and
just
Kobe.
on steroids. Yeah, with Kobe. Yeah, they had what the Pistons had
had-
with Kobe.
Fisher knew his
Yeah.
role, Lamar knew his role, Paul knew his role, and they all
And then
played.
they had Ron Artest too.
And they had Ron
Ron
Artest.
Artest is a Hall of
Ron Artest
Famer.
a Hall of Famer?
Ron Artest is a Hall of Famer.
That's 3.
Yeah, Artest is a Hall of Famer. Yeah, but you guys, first of all, you didn't say whether or not Lamar was, so you can't just add him in.
No, but I'm saying Kobe, Powell,
in Artest.
Artest. And
Well,
then if you want to
Fisher.
say Lionel,
And is
Lamar.
Fisher
Derek
a Hall of
Fisher-
is Fisher a
Derek
Hall of
Fisher is a Hall of
Yeah.
Famer.
Is he in?
I don't know, but Derek Fisher has to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess they have
Robert
multiple.
Horry ain't a damn Hall
But
of Famer.
I think
How
there's
was
a
Derek
different.
Fisher?
Okay, so here's becomes the other question, and I don't want to go on this rabbit trail, but the thing becomes
Farmar?
no. Then the,
Dr.
Vujicic,
Vujicic.
the thing becomes now. Okay. the thing becomes now. Okay. Yes, Hall of Famer, but you look at that team, and then you look at Miami. And that's 2 different classes of Hall of Famer there. You know what I'm saying? I think Dwayne Wade is a different class of Hall of Famer than Ron Artest. I think
Right, he's right
same.
behind Kobe.
Same with Chris. Chris Bosh, I guess, arguably Ray Allen though. I mean, there's a different caliber. So now you got to look at. You can't just say
Ray-
Hall of Famer because it's levels. It's levels. Same with Golden State and.
So you're
Brooklyn.
saying Hall of Famer versus top 50 player of all time?
Yeah.
But see, that's
Because-
but I think that's the difference. Because if you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer.
Ray was a Hall of Famer
Yeah,
before he
but
got
I'm
to
with
Miami.
Matt. Because if you're a
Because
Hall
Ray
of
was a
Famer,
Hall of Famer before he
Dick
got to
Bavetta's a
Miami.
Hall of Famer. Dick Bavetta's a Hall of Famer. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm saying if you get to put on the coat, I feel
But
like
all
that's
coats
tough.
fit different.
Yeah, but what Jamal is saying is
That's fact.
Jamal is saying top 50 players versus the Hall of Fame is a large group of people.
Yeah.
Some people we've never heard of.
Yeah, but
Some
once
people
you,
with no stats.
but if you're in the club, you're in the club.
Some people, but we had the club conversation before. Was Ken, were you on for that? No, you talked about Iverson being able to sit at the table with other guys.
Yeah, I
rings.
think I was here.
Yeah. I mean, you said the club thing, but I don't know. I think there is levels even within the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'll agree to that.
It's too
Absolutely.
So your dad said there are 3 teams that won an NBA championship without an All NBA player first team.
What are those teams?
The Pistons,
3 teams that won an NBA championship without an All NBA player first team.
But
I know the Spurs
I
had
can't
Tim Duncan or David Robinson.
it's
so
gotta
not them.
be
The
yeah.
Raptors. Going back to the Raptors.
Well,
Well,
Kawhi,
no, Kawhi was
was
first
almost
team.
MVP that year.
Was
so
he?
I know he
Oh
was
yeah,
first
so he was first team.
Yeah, he must mean in that year, in that season, they weren't NBA first team because that would.
No, he's saying there's 3 different teams.
All together.
Yeah.
He'll let us know.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah. Let
Right.
us know who they are. But yeah, so I just think that
Let us know.
the main thing goes back to this. Okay, listen, LeBron, he wanted this player freedom. He wanted to create this thing where guys can go where they wanted to go, and I'm for that. Whatever. Times are changing. I may have my opinions, but I'm for guys wanting, be free to do what they want to do, whatever. However, what I'm saying is we can't. He's done it now, so this is the way the league is. So whoever does it after him, you can be upset, but it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't matter because this is the way it is now. So it's you can't necessarily KD weak. We shouldn't even be having that conversation anymore because it's only going to get worse.
No one's having the conversation that KD's weak. I want
Am I
you to
drunk?
put your
Didn't
hate when
people
you say
say
LeBron
KD's
started
weak?
this and incorporate KD into that.
I said that was fine if you wanted to put KD in there.
Well,
Right, and then
I
we went
think
on a
it's
whole
different,
45-minute tangent about this.
I think the main thing. Let's bring it back to what the main thing was. The main thing is that the NBA needs to do some self-reflection and come out differently after COVID. Like so many organizations, they need to do something different. We talked about whether they should do a March Madness knockout. Should they? I mean, and what we're talking about, we're having more fun talking about the last 30 years of champions than
Today's
10 current teams. Like, I mean, the NBA, talk about the head start. They got to do something different, or we all just gonna be watching WNBA for sure. They need to do something. I think they got to do something
Well,
different.
I'm not gonna watch WNBA, so
You don't
sorry.
even watch the NBA.
I barely
Hey,
watch the
really,
NBA.
Really quick side note, Mr. Frierson said Derek Fisher's career numbers are 8.7 points and 3.1 assists. So no, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Derek Fisher is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying
What your
that I
daddy
think
say?
he.
What's the data?
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying he should be. Like I actually don't think. Okay, and I don't want to open it up too much, but 2000. What was that? 2000?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Lakers win without Derek Fisher?
They don't win without Horry.
It's for real? I mean,
That Kings.
big shot Bob. But do the Lakers win without Derek Fisher?
So you're saying
that the year
being
that
a,
he hit
being
the
a
fourth
good role
attempt?
Is that he
player?
had the fadeaway on the Spurs?
I think so. It's the fourth
I
time.
can't remember, but I think that whole run.
Listen,
You talked about Chauncey. You could have brought somebody else in. Then I said maybe I don't know. I don't think you could have just brought somebody else in.
be Derek Fisher.
No, you couldn't have.
Your
To be
dad
Derek Fisher.
said that the 3 teams were the Pistons, the Rockets, the Mavs were the 3 teams
the
without a
Mavs.
The Mavs
first team
that
all
beat that
NBA.
The
LeBron
Mavs
team.
that beat the Miami team. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
'cause
thought
Dirk-
I thought Dirk was almost in MVP contention for that
Yeah,
year.
he was.
Oh.
He's
MVP.
not first team.
Dirk
he
was
wasn't
MVP
first.
that year, wasn't he?
No.
No.
No, not in 06.
No.
That was
That was
I think the
Dwayne-
LeBron.
that I don't know, but
Yeah.
it wasn't Dirk.
He won in 11. Who won a LeBron?
I know he
in
won
11.
a MVP, but not the year that he won a ring. No, he won one in 11 or 10.
Who was on that Rockets? Oh, that must have been the '90s Rockets.
That was Hakeem Olajuwon,
So
Kennedy J.
Hakeem
Smith,
wasn't
Rob
first team?
Horry,
No.
Akeem wasn't first. Akeem Olajuwon wasn't first.
Maxwell, Brandon
so you
Maxwell,
got Jordan. I'm sure.
Jordan wasn't playing that year.
Oh
I
no,
thought.
he wasn't.
Jordan.
So how was
that
Hakeem?
was that was Jordan retired years.
How was Hakeem not
Yeah.
first team when
Retirement.
Jordan wasn't
Patrick
playing?
Ewing?
Charles Barkley.
Oh,
Well,
no.
Hakeem was center, so the only person who was going to be first team was Hakeem.
Speaking of
So
Charles
Patrick
Barkley,
Ewing must have won it.
just a quick question: Do you think that you should be able to be a Hall of Famer if you're not a champion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson is a
Allen Iverson.
1,000% a Hall
And
of
you
Famer.
think you should be?
Absolutely.
There's only
was
been
Patrick
what,
Ewing.
like 20 teams over the last like 40 years, or not even, that have won championships. Like 20. Oh, hold on a second.
It has to be 40 teams in the last 40 years.
No.
to win a
I'm
championship.
talking about. I'm talking about like.
Well,
I'm
20
talking about like
separate-
Yeah,
franchise.
different teams. Yeah, different.
or like
yeah.
something like that.
Huh.
I don't even think it's that.
I mean, yeah,
think it's-
absolutely.
That makes sense because it was the Lakers and the Celtics and
Spurs
the
and
Spurs and the Heat
yeah.
that won them all.
You really, yeah, yeah.
You
But
can
I think
sprinkle in like
From-
5 other
From
teams.
1980 on, it's the Celtics, the Lakers, that's 2, the 76ers, the Pistons, the Bulls.
Oh, we forgot the Bulls. Yeah, 6 years of the Bulls.
I mean, you gotta put you gotta put
The Rockets.
you gotta put AI in there or any guy that has that. But so moving on. So kind of over the weekend, I saw something extremely disturbing. Just it was this Lil Nas X thing with the just the Satanism and whatever it is that he's trying to troll, whether he's trying to troll or whatever. I guess I don't understand. And Blake, you kind of talked about it before the show, but the whatever this preoccupation with devil worship is, it's just weird to me.
All right, so
And he
for
went
those
too
who
far
aren't
with it.
for those who aren't aware, Lil Nas X put out a music video. So if y'all ain't know, Lil Nas X might be gay.
Might.
Might be
He is
gay.
gay.
Trying to
he,
be funny.
He came out. He's gay.
And so
being funny.
and so he basically put out a video. It's
It's
okay.
just
Sometimes my
sarcasm.
Well, you're like cut off half of the screen, so I can't see your face.
I mean, but you can hear me.
Well, he's not a temptation, remember? So
Yeah.
no, but yeah. So
Bobby Womack in this thing.
I don't think he's anybody you want to aspire to be. But so he, a lot of people say that because he's gay, sinful. he's
So
going to
basically,
hell, all that
yeah,
stuff. And so
basically he
just
thought
basically-
he was trying to poke fun at that, I guess, in a way that came across honestly really crazy and disrespectful to people that are Christian. So I think what was it? It was the video, and then it was the shoe that had a lot of like Satanist things on it too, and it's shock value. And to be honest, bro, when you look at someone like that, he's one hit away, and that like Old Town Road is the only real hit that he's ever gonna have.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It was a hit. It was a smash. Like the biggest, I think the highest selling song in the history of music, right? But he ain't doing it again.
The highest selling song
I'm
in
sorry.
the history of music?
Yeah, like it's like 20 times platinum or
It
something.
went
like
like
that.
it sold like 6 billion.
It's either the highest selling or it's been on the Billboard for the most.
Okay.
Something like that. Like
That's
individual.
I mean, I know it was a smash on the and it smashed records, but I didn't know that. Wow.
Okay, really quick, not just really quick to go back to the first team. We have the list of the first team that year. It was Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, David Robinson, John Stockton, and Anthony Hardaway.
Young
Penny.
So yeah, Elijah was not on there. I guess makes sense. Sure,
Dad is always right.
Dad's always right. Father knows best. But yeah, so we don't have to dive deep into it. I just think the preoccupation with, the Illuminati and people selling their soul and devil worship. It's starting to really.
It's 14 times platinum in the U.S.
Is that the number one though?
I believe so. Hold on a second.
It's just weird. It's weird, and I think it's one thing to want to troll and want to make fun of what people's opinions are of your lifestyle, but it's another to go as far as
Overboard.
he's going to where I think it's just making people uncomfortable. Even Nike came out and was like, listen, whatever shoe he's making or made, we don't want anything to do with it. We're not a part of it. We're not associated with it. And now they're filing a class action suit against him. So it's, this is a mess. And, listen, do
Could
what
have been
you.
avoided. Like, why go that far? Like,
All right, so the record is at Old Town Road held the number one spot, longest chart in history for 17 weeks straight. So that's the record. So you can argue that it's the biggest song of all time on paper.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well, his career's done.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of people that are gonna become more of a follower of his at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But we just the world we live in, the country we live in, and just people. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to like really see it all. Like I saw a clip, and I just couldn't.
yeah.
I couldn't. Like not for me. And my own values and beliefs. First of all, interesting. I'll throw this in, and it'll be free. This is Passion Week. This is Holy Week. So in the Christian kingdom, in Christendom, this is the celebration of Jesus going to the cross. And it's just important that I think people, regardless of their beliefs, just really are aware of what you're looking at, what you're taking in, the media that you're digesting, because these things have meaning. I know you all talked about Kirk Franklin, I think, last week and that whole ordeal. I think what so much of this stems from is there's a spiritual component, but then also in the natural, it's really mental health. I think that people are hurt, probably rightfully so, and angry and stressed, and so much that they respond out of that hurt. And they're usually looking to fulfill some type of void or gap in their life. All of this is just people, I encourage people to just do their own self-reflection, take care of their mind, take care of their spirit, because that's what you need right now. This is serious. I'm kind of fumbling because this is serious, but I just hope that whatever he wanted to be, he wants to make people uncomfortable with this. Yeah. I think that was and he has a right to. That's fine, but people just got to be careful. People got to be careful.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, whatever. I guess it just, I don't like you said. And I think when you are, when you do have certain values, beliefs, whatever, it's hard to see why people would act in whatever way that they do act. But like you said, then you have to separate from that and understand that people have issues and they have problems and they have opinions and they have whatever, and it comes out in odd ways. And so whatever he got out of this or was trying to get out of this, hopefully he did, because as much, I do think people are going to, some people may follow him, but I think the majority are going to be really, when Nike comes out and denounces you,
they denounced and sued, didn't they?
Yeah. So I think that now it becomes you're weird. You know what I mean? Now it's you're weird.
I think the number one thing is that when you go into the entertainment industry, what happens is a lot of times people just lose their type of and I'm not even really speaking on his orientation or whatever, but just values in general. And so what happens is that you start to do stuff for shock value, and after a while you start to lose yourself because people are pitching you. It's okay, Old Town Road was 3 years ago. He put out a couple songs since then. Some did well, some didn't do well, and then now they're looking at you look, man, if you want to maintain this lifestyle that you built up over the last 3 years, you need a new hit. And then you start to resort to shock value, and that's when people always talk about metaphorically selling your soul, but I guess in this case maybe literally, but just doing whatever it takes to stay on top and stay relevant. After a while, that eats at you, and you look in the mirror and you're not even the same person that you was, when you came in. So that would be, my advice to do.
I don't have any advice for him. Put a cold water bottle in one of them little fans in your casket. Just kidding. Yeah. So that's that. Best of luck to him.
And the whole thing with there was a reference to the scripture.
Yeah. The scripture on the shoe about, Satan falling from heaven. It's just weird. It's weird. And even if you don't subscribe to a specific religion or whatever the case may be, this is still weird. You know what I mean? It's not even a Christian thing. It's not a there's human blood that had made this. Even if you aren't a Christian, if you aren't whatever, it's an odd thing to do.
It's weird.
People just don't subscribe to Satanism and think it's funny or cool, unless there's something. And
the timing on it, like you said.
It's
that
Easter,
song came out
it's just
probably Friday. So it's a week before Good Friday,
which was strategic, I believe.
Yeah, it's probably so. It was done to turn heads and
read the whole scriptures. I think that it's Luke 10, chapter 10.
If you read it's ironic.
Yeah, he picked. I think they isolated one verse out of the whole chapter, but the whole chapter is a really good chapter that even talks about a popular Bible story with the Good Samaritan, etc. And then also Jesus visiting with Mary and Martha. Whole good. If you're into that, not necessarily suggesting that if you're not, but I'm saying if you're gonna know that part of this whole story, read the whole thing, and learn something.
Yeah. So a couple things. We had Black History Month, and it came and went. And I usually
Always goes quickly.
yeah, it does.
Shortest month
Usually,
Yeah, that works.
and the coldest month.
yeah, usually, I kind of I realize it more usually, but this year kind of, like I said, just kind of came and went, and I didn't really get a chance to stop and reflect during. But it was just some stuff that I thought about today about it, and it was this online thing that they were talking about this black culture and why African American people were so hesitant to support black business, but are never as hesitant to support businesses of other races. And I thought that was an interesting question. Not that I feel that way. I feel like I support when I can, but that is kind of a stigma, and I think it's kind of an unwritten thing too, is that niggas don't trust niggas. You know what I'm saying? With certain things, and
if they do, they like, let me get a discount. They don't want to pay the full.
yeah, and but I think the part of it too that was interesting to me was, why, like, we champion individuality, and we champion black pride, and we champion all these other, being culturally aware and all these other areas. But when it pertains to the marketplace, it's almost like we don't even think that we're capable ourselves to the point where we can support another, black business. Like, that to me is just interesting, because it's not like someone of any other race has any more acumen than someone black that's trying to do it. You know what I mean? And so when reading that article, it just really made me scratch my head like, wow, like this is really, it's obviously a thing for it to be stuff that people talk about. So I was just curious if you've ever had an experience, or you've ever, even in jest, where you thought about or heard people joke about, or and how, what do you think about that? Like, how do you feel about the fact that we don't support each other?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple things. I think the first thing is that, to be honest, one of the things we don't talk about is the after effects of slavery and segregation, and how those things messed up the way that we view ourselves. Yeah. And sometimes when we look at, when we look at a black business, or we look at someone else that, like you said, is no different than, any other business, a lot of times we think of it as lesser quality because of those things, because sometimes we associate with black with lesser, right? And so I think that's a huge thing. The second thing is just, if you think about access and price point, like, generally a black business is going to be more expensive than it is, going to Walmart and getting it, right? So I think, and generally, if you look at the black community as a whole, we gonna be towards the lower end. It's just a fact, right? So like, it's not everybody, obviously, but like, for the overwhelming majority. So if we're thinking about being conservative with our money already, we're probably going to go to Walmart over someone that's going to cost more in general. And that's not even just a race thing. That's just a preserve your pockets thing. So, but I think it's important to support when you can,
And that's kind of more, that's even goes along with just kind of small business, not even, price point and small businesses. I think it's important to support small business. I think it's important to support local. I think it's important to support businesses that are operated by people of color, especially from the community. So like from the community in which that business is. Like, I think that's important. And I think we can't really get caught up in, which sometimes I think we do, get caught up in the stereotypes of what black people and black businesses are. That it's not going to be whatever those stereotypes might be. Like, there are a number of different stereotypes about a black business. Now I'm going to go over to this person, or I'm going to go over here because they ain't going to do it right, or they ain't going to. And I think that we get caught up in those stereotypes that are actually not true at all, not proven really in any way. But yeah, I just wanted to raise that. Blake mentioned the difference in the prices too, but I think it's more small business, even just as opposed to black business.
When you go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
When it almost weakens our cry for social justice. And what I mean by that is I think when we perpetuate stereotypes within our own community and it's heard or seen by other races, secondhand, it's hard for people to believe in some of the things that we say or are asking for, not in terms of murder and death, like not that kind of stuff, but in other areas, it's almost like there's stereotypes that white people, Asian people, Latino, that they have already of us. And when they hear what we think of each other, but then we turn around and we say different things about how we want to be seen, it's an oxymoron. I mean, you can't ask for certain things or want to, advocate for certain things when you don't believe necessarily in your own community and you're vocal about it. And, and I think that is, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And even if you feel that way and don't want to support your own, don't say it. Right. Just don't support
Keep it to yourself.
If you feel like, niggas ain't gonna do right, niggas ain't gonna. If that's how you feel, then don't say it. Don't say it. Don't create that or perpetuate that, because I think that we weaken our own advocacy when we do stuff like that. And it's interesting that's how it is.
And also, a lot of people, they don't want to support the business until it gets
to a certain
level. It's like, I'm not about to.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't want to wear this right now until I see a bunch of other people, and it's like, why don't you be the person that get it out there for them? Yeah. Don't wait till they get big, and now you're all like, oh, I've always been on this and that. So just
if he was mad that I was charging 25, imagine when I get big and charge 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You didn't want it then, so why now?
Your dad.
You see everybody else is on it.
What did he say?
He just said black businesses are more expensive until we get better distribution.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a small business problem, but it's even more compounded by the fact that we don't have certain access to certain things, just being black, or even just being the smaller guy.
But the thing about it is that you would think that and not everybody has common sense, but because of that fact right there, and that this business is trying to, they're trying to grow and they're trying to expand. And a lot of times owners and people that work in these different places will tell customers, hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is why the prices are what they are, because whatever. And they'll spend time explaining, and we still don't get it. And it's like you would think that black folk would say, whatever you need, whatever it is, I'll do it, and I'll give you a little bit extra. Because we know that it's not easy to infiltrate, number one, or to, integrate, I should say. And it's like, why do we look like he's just charging too much? Now it's like, but what we have to do and what we're up against already. Like we're already up against, like you said, we're already up against the fact that the distribution. Then we're up against the fact that there's just different parts of it.
Distribution and discrimination.
Yeah, and discriminate. Yeah, then the discrimination piece, and it's like, why I don't understand why we yell for the advocacy in one breath and then we're muted in the other. That bothers me.
Well, because at the end of the day, quality is gonna trump all, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter if in your heart of hearts you want to support a black business or whatever, but if you feel like you're consistently not paying for a quality or a certain thing, you're not gonna do that. And I feel like the problem is that people are always gonna put their own pockets first. It doesn't matter as much how charitable you want to be or how whatever. The majority of people are always gonna put their pockets first. So they walk into I remember it was a restaurant that opened up in Flint over the summer, I want to say.
Talk about that Prime place?
Nah, I wasn't going to name names.
My bad.
But so
what it is.
So but they had
Hopefully they
had
Come on, black business, shout them out.
Right.
But they had I don't even want to tell the story now. But they had a bad opening and people trashed them on social media when it was clearly their first time around. And the problem is that that place might get better. But the problem is people coming in are afraid to take that risk because of those things. And I think that in your head, that these businesses are just starting out. But it's like, okay, that's cool. But let me know when you get where I want the quality where I want you to be, and then I'll come back. And so that's something that at the end of the day, it's you can trump all that by just putting out good quality stuff.
Well, I think that's true. I just like I don't necessarily support. Like I support good business.
Yeah.
I just think that we just can't go in with the assumption that a
Black
black-owned
business isn't
business
good business.
won't be good.
Right. No,
Yeah.
that's exactly that.
You
that's what
know,
I'm
I
saying.
mean, I think if you find that it's not that you're not getting the quality that you deserve anywhere, then I think you have to, you know, make the decision on where you spend your resources. But I don't think we should assume, not that we are, but I'm saying I don't think that people should assume that because it's a black-owned business that it is somehow inferior.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we also need more. Like that's the real truth. We need more black-owned businesses. And we have in the city of Flint, actually, there are a number that are here, that are evolving, that more growing, especially serving the north side of Flint. So I think that we have to make sure that we also go to these places. Like it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to actually go and actually spend our resources in these places.
And then last thing, what I just wanted to add is I think a lot of it has to do also with, like kind of like what Blake was saying, like we have to kind of test run with our own people. And if they're already kind of combative with what we're going to sell, then it's hard to get it to, you know, it's hard to get it to the suburbs. It's hard to get it into Target or Walmart or whatever it is, the product that we're trying to sell. If I start in my community and my own community doesn't support me.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I have to sell this at a price that is a little higher than Target because Target is mass producing all around the world. I have to make a return here in my community.
I think also too another thing that people don't really think about, especially like entrepreneurs in general, black-owned entrepreneurs, is that like you can do more. You can create products that aren't just for your community, right? Like I feel like when you look at like close, you can't really close the wealth gap if you just are marketing towards people in your own. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we can't close the wealth gap, but like one of the reasons, you know, is that if you just consistently just pull money from your own community. Like I was watching this interview with Dapper Dan. And he was talking about how when he was coming out with, you know, like doing all the Gucci like prints and like his own versions of those, like he stopped trying to make things affordable for everybody, only charge luxury because it allowed him to get charge a extremely high price point for things and not have to worry about availability because he knew that a lot of people weren't going to be able to afford it anyway. But after a while, he started to shift his focus from just black, you know, people in general towards just mainstream America in general, because he realized that he wanted, you know, as much money as he could get or the biggest amount. And then in that in turn was going to allow him to build resources and hire other black people to build a business up that was going to support and put money back in his community. So I think also too is just, you know, thinking more just outside of our community, targeting people that don't look like us for the products and services, because we're the culture. We move everything forward as black people. Like if we put our spin on it, it's going to sell. So I think that's something that people don't necessarily always keep in mind too.
Yeah, I agree. Another so another part of Black History Month, better late than never, since I'm doing this now, was one of the things I read today was talking about why, in terms of dating, African American male, it's okay when African American males date interracially, but maybe not so much when African American women date interracially.
Is it okay?
Another head scratcher for me. No, it was interesting because I do think that, well, I think people look at both and they're like, you know, have a reaction. But I do think a lot of black men will look at a black woman that's with, you know, a different race and be a little bit more off-put than maybe the opposite. I mean, that I've seen. Yeah, absolutely, I've seen that, and but this is what I've in the situations I've seen it in. The reason was that they said it caught them off guard was because there's been this thing of where, you know, some African American women have said, you know, they can't find good black men or whatever the case may be. And then you get this long list of black men that are like, well, you know, I tried to talk, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, whatever. Then they end up with a white guy, you know, and they'll say, well, you know, how hard were you looking, or what type of black man do you want? And, you know, I think, you know, I don't think it necessarily matters. I don't necessarily care either way. But reading that and reading the comments where people were like, yeah, why is that? Or why can't, or why, I thought it was interesting. So I was just curious if anybody has seen or heard or experienced anything where, you saw some disdain for African American girl dating a white guy. I mean, we know people personally that, are with African American women, and I think we all were shocked. So,
Yeah, like what's never mind.
So
you're not gonna name names on a business, but you was about to out some up.
Yeah, bro, because I don't care about none of the people that went to that school.
yeah,
That's
well,
cool.
I mean, y'all can blame them. I don't care.
Anyway, so I think the thing we got to keep in mind too is like, so I think it's a couple things. So the first thing is that like I was watching this interview with this, a panel, and they were talking about the same thing. And I don't know, I can't speak to this, because I'm not a black woman clearly, but I feel like black women are always raised more to date inside their race. And so it's like it's with the perception, they grow up with the perception like finding a black man or whatever. Whereas for some reason along the line that message gets lost on black men. I think that's the first thing. I think second thing too to look at is that black women are also I have like a statistic that said they're like the most educated group of people like by race, gender in this country, right? When you are more successful on average, you're going to tend to be in rooms where the people and be in communities where people don't look like us. You're more likely to date outside your race the more successful you become, because you're not going to be, unless you're purposely putting yourself in rooms, you're not going to put yourself in rooms. What's wrong?
No, I just, we have Reverend Al Sharpton at the end of the table here, and I know he's chomping at the bit. So
you're not going to be in rooms, with as many people that look like you, like Domino's, only see a few black, like whatever Jay said.
People I go, yeah.
Yeah. So I think those are the reasons why it happens. I'm not, gonna tell people who they can and can't date or should or shouldn't date. That's all I got.
Go ahead, because I know you got something.
I don't have a whole lot. I think that a lot of what Blake said is very true, especially about black women, in the sense of black girls rock. And I guess my opening comment is just to shout out every wonderful, bold, beautiful, intelligent, charismatic, bodacious.
Oh, you got somebody watching.
Fierce.
Lord.
Black queen that might be listening.
Now, hold on.
Very good.
Scotty Bar.
Go ahead.
I don't know the joke.
Jamal's with
Continue.
I was just playing, bro. I'm right there with you, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
To date or not date a black woman as a black man, I think you still can pause for the beauty of the black woman.
There you go.
Most beautiful creature created.
There you go.
All right.
Amen.
But now that that's out the way.
Yeah.
No, I think that people. I think that it is important to date. I think there are certain characteristics that are important with dating, and where race factors in, I think that it depends on the situation. But I think that generally when we date people that we are either like there's the physical attraction or there's the familiarity, and so like I think if you grew up as a black boy that grows up around a lot of white people and white women and girls, the familiarity becomes that standard of beauty, as well as whatever is fed to us, which is generally through the media, and whether that's movies, commercials, TV shows, print. I mean, Google just, beautiful women, and it's a lot of thin white women, blonde hair, blue eyes, and so that becomes what you think is beautiful. Right. And it is beautiful. Let me say that it's beautiful, but it just becomes what you're more familiar with. And so then that's what you tend to chase after. But see, this has a history though. And so then there was the white woman as the forbidden fruit for black men back from slavery. When you talk about the effects of slavery throughout generations and how then the
Master daughter.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, and then talk about familiarity. So then redlining and other racist laws and practices. In housing and in other areas. So people dated in their communities. Sure. And so you dated within 5 blocks of where you lived.
Sure.
I think what has changed the game that we don't acknowledge a whole lot is really like
Tinder.
online dating.
Yeah, I was just about to say Tinder.
Yeah, online dating apps. I think Tinder, I saw this somewhere. It said like 75% of their matches are interracial or something like that. So like online dating has really changed this altogether.
And let's be honest, I think the generations has changed the viewpoint of it from the standpoint of, obviously, our father back when he was coming up, it wasn't even an option. It wasn't even something you thought about per se.
Yeah, basically from taboo to being okay.
Yeah, I think
Kinda?
I think it went from forbidden, to down the road to where I was coming up and being, most of my life was spent in Grand Blanc, Michigan, translates to big white, Michigan. And being around just that, I think it's just different. It's different. Like you said, when you're around that all the time, whatever. But I think my age, especially my younger brother, his age, I don't think they look at it like that or necessarily care. Like, I think they see it as this thing that, I guess there's a race divide. But I don't think they see it to the point where it would keep them from wanting to date another race.
Nah, I think that's cap. I think people, the younger generation is still just as prejudiced. They just do a better job hiding it. I feel like generally we're starting to get towards, like, every generation is a little bit better than the last, but I think a lot of people still hold a large degree of prejudice when it comes to a lot of different things. I don't think it's just that cut and dry.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that it's not. But like Ken just said, 75% of Tinder matches are interracial. So 75% of a dating app has matched an interracial couple. So people are not looking at it. If Tinder came out in the 70s or in the 60s, it wouldn't be that.
Well, I think in every
Also based on location. So
location settings for niggas would be down the street. Go ahead, Jason.
No, I'm just
Jaquan again?
overall, I think that's evolved. Like, I think that, parents, grandparents, great grandparents going back, it's changed over all of those generations, and it's going to progress. I don't know which podcast said it, but one of the podcasts said in the last couple of weeks that the United States eventually won't be majority white.
Yeah, by 2050.
And it'll be interracial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are so many relationships that are interracial. And I think that's part of it too. The younger generations are going to see less of the color being an quote issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they know that everything else that's changed in the past, they're starting to see it, and then the younger generations coming up are just going to help that evolution. So,
yeah, that's a good point. And we can't not factor in pop culture. I mean, you look at some of the biggest figures,
Kylie Jenner.
And
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, some of the biggest figures in pop culture are dating.
Well, right. Yeah.
Outside of their race. I mean, like you said, the Kardashians. Whoever. It's just that's what it's become. And I think that there's been white women that have told me that they're just not attracted to white guys. Or they've said that, hey, I mean, and not that I believe it per se, but I think that there is a difference between the two. I think not.
Yeah.
So how were they exactly telling you that?
There's a difference.
Like, what were they doing to tell you that?
There's a difference.
It was a class. It was a class.
Oh, it was a class. Like, okay.
It was a class. It was a class.
That makes sense. Yep.
And the professor asked the question about people's taste, and one of the students said that they felt like most of the white guys they met. I mean, hey, it's a college.
I feel
psychology class.
Okay, but
They
then
say
a
lot of stuff.
I would challenge that person because going back to what he said.
She was cute.
Like, great. All right, well, you.
There goes the first step.
All right, going back to what you said.
No,
like,
yeah,
most of the time, you're gonna date and you're gonna even be attracted to the people that you grew up around. If you black people, you grow up around black people. Most likely, media aside, you're gonna be attracted to black women, right? So like, your white person, you grow up around black people, you're gonna probably be more attracted to black women, right? Like, That's just how it is. You're more attracted to the people you grow up around. So if this person grows up around white people and doesn't find them attractive at all, I think that she's probably just fetishizing black people.
But does it have to be that, or can it just be they didn't grow up around black people and then they went to college and realized that there was just other, like, you know what I mean? Like there was just other interactions and other people. And, you know, I don't think it's always, I don't think we don't have to always make ourselves an object of sexualization. I think there are white women that just like the personality and swag and charisma of black men over white men. I don't think it's always they just want to sleep with black guys. I don't think it's that.
I don't think that we have made us the object of.
I think we perpetuate the stereotypes, and we've championed, even in music, the stereotype of that specific thing. And I think you know, that's what it started off as, you know, like you said, taboo about, you know, the difference between the two, and then over time we embraced it and then continued to project it, and then now it's gone rampant. And so I think we never stopped it. We never said it wasn't true. We never said we didn't want to be associated with that stereotype. We perpetuated it, and it, for some people, you know, I think that's just what it was. You know, it was.
I disagree with that.
Yeah,
but
I could take you back.
But I also wanted to. Yeah. I also wanted to come back to the point about
we ain't got time for
Kylie Jenner and all these folks. I do think that there are some people that are highlighted in interracial relationships in pop culture, but I think that they're highlighted intentionally. I think there are even some intentional efforts in our commercials, etc. But when you talk about the majority, I think there's such a minority of that happening with interracial relationships. They're just the ones that we're elevating. But when you look out at the Academy Awards and you talk about Oscar So White and all those people that are there that actually hold the power and hold the money and hold all the people who, not the Kylie Jenner, we know her name. I'm talking about the executive directors who are white men that go home to white women. Like, and the resources in those communities. Yes. And I mean, like, I think that we only elevate certain
relationships. But the Kylie Jenner thing was speaking to the fact that generations younger and younger are going to continue to interracially date because of those figures. I mean,
because they're around the social media more than the older generations.
Yeah, people that are younger than Keith aren't looking at the executive directors at the Oscars. They're not. They're looking at Kylie Jenner's Instagram.
Yeah.
And when they get to college and they see a guy that looks like Travis Scott, that's what they want. I mean, I think it's just, you know,
they've got to look further than that.
How at that young? How do you that young? You said what?
I said, what about the Meghan Markle situation with Prince Harry?
If Prince Harry was with Viola Davis, it'd be a conversation, but he with Meghan Markle, and I think that's a whole other thing. I think there's even an acceptance when you get into shade.
Yeah, colorism.
I think you look at Paula Patton, you look at, you know, Meghan Markle, you look at a lot of these different African American women who are biracial or whatever the case may be. I think there's an acceptance of it. At least he ain't go all the way, nigga.
But we didn't.
You know what I mean?
But we didn't start that either.
Yeah, we didn't. None of this is.
I mean, I didn't say we started any of this.
That was the royal family asking how dark is
the
your
royal
baby
family started it. You want to be real?
Yeah,
I mean, colorism is the difference between a house nigga and a field nigga. Like, I mean, that's where some
we did start.
Is a field nigga.
But I mean, we did start within the black community when women like light-skinned niggas more than they like dark-skinned niggas. That white folk had nothing to do with that.
But yes, they did.
No, they didn't. No, they did not.
But it is.
They're the ones that dictated it.
It's the mental effects.
Thank you, Jamal.
It's the mental effects of what is beautiful. Whatever the closer you can get to white is beautiful. According to the culture standard.
But why would the cultures, if a black male and a black female are wanting to be together, why would they care about what white people think about how dark or light skinned their counterpart is? That doesn't make any sense.
Because how will they be?
Well,
because
Matt,
first of all,
you gotta think of it as I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you gotta think of it as a psychological thing. Like if I told this light skinned person that you pass enough to be inside the house with us.
I'm not
and
talking
then
about
generations
slave
and generations of
times.
that going down.
Bro, but I'm
I'm saying, like, so that's why we
literally
say, like,
past-
We can't.
you know, if we had a light skinned dude in the group
don't
and he
agree.
like biting his lip and like that's some light skinned shit.
I
That's
don't
but
agree.
what I'm saying is like the white people told us that the
I don't-
light skinned people were good looking enough or a lighter shade enough to be in the house with them.
But in
And
20,
we were
but-
hardened
but in
and grilled and
2020
we had
in
to
20
learn
in
to feel these-
2021,
still a
black
nigga.
people aren't dictating what shade of black
Bro,
person they
but
want to
you
be with because of slavery times. No, they're not.
You would be surprised to
They're
figure
not.
That's a
out the amount of
generational
things.
thing. What
That's
do
what
you
I'm
mean?
saying, bro.
No, they're
you
not.
you would be surprised the amount
We're
of
still
things that we
suffering
do.
things from slavery today. What do you mean?
Exactly,
No,
bro. You'd be
not-
surprised
not-
the amount of things that we do in black culture because of slavery. You like if you really like looked at a lot of the things, the way we talk, all of our customs. Because think about it, bro. We literally came over from Africa. We had nothing, and we had to rewrite our entire culture. Our entire culture is based on slavery and the effects of it. If you want to be real about it. So
Agree to disagree.
okay,
Oh.
I mean, well, think about it like this, bro. You was on this podcast a couple weeks ago and said something about light skinned women, right?
Yeah, but
And
that was. But
so-
I said, but the difference is this: I wouldn't not date a dark skinned black woman because I care about how white men view my relationship. That's dumb.
No, it would be because of how you see a dark skinned black woman,
And not that
which
either.
has been influenced by.
The
But not
effects
that
of-
either.
By what you were conditioned to deem what is attractive.
But I was never. I
You
was
didn't say
never.
that black women.
Yeah, I was never
not attractive?
conditioned that dark skinned black women weren't attractive though.
We all have been.
Well, that's speak for y'all. I don't know what
have
kind
the
of
same
houses y'all
problem.
were raised in.
Not even
My-
dark
my
skinned black
father-
women,
my-
just dark skinned like darker is associated with worse
Exactly.
in
Right.
almost anything that you can think of. I mean,
Test.
you said what?
No, I thought it went out on me. The mic. No, listen. I'm not saying that that's not all wrong or true or any whatever. I'm just saying, I think sometimes people want to place their personal preferences on stuff that doesn't always like not every person that likes light skinned women is doing it because of generational slavery
We
or
do
the
things and we
impacts
don't-
of generational
if
slavery.
we do things and we don't know
No
why
way.
we do them.
If you place, yeah.
If you're attracted to Paula Patton, it's because you're attracted to Paula Patton. If
No,
you're
okay,
attracted
but
to
someone
someone darker, it's because you're attracted to someone darker.
But what we're not,
It's
we're
not
not, we're not,
always
we're not saying the
my
attraction.
oppression drew me to you.
We're not.
It's not always that.
All right, but we're not saying that the attraction, because all women are beautiful. They were saying the preference.
So what about black folk that are
Right.
date? So what about black folk that are with darker black people?
Black folk that are with.
What about black people that are light skinned people, sure, that are with darker black people?
What about it?
I think
So I'm saying if it holds true that people have a preference for light skinned people, then what's the opposite? What about them? So what is it in their mind they're thinking that the people on the reverse didn't have?
So why do light skinned people are attracted to dark skinned people?
Or why do black people in general like dark skinned people?
I think
if-
I think you're speaking to the conscious decision, and
Yeah.
that's fair.
No one is
like
saying
a
we
conscious
consciously
decision.
want to date dark or light.
What I
Jamal. Listen. No, go ahead. Listen.
Very careful.
All I said
Be
was
very
all I
careful.
said was your name. Go ahead. Kid.
Very careful.
I think
I would say you're dreading.
listen. I think the most important thing in this conversation too, well, not the most, but one of the more important things is that we can talk about the number of mixed races that we will have in
It's not gonna. Yeah.
in a few years from now, which is positive. Many might conclude, but if we don't disband white supremacy and uproot it at the very root of it,
Yeah.
like it won't matter. Like it won't matter. You will be Meghan Markle. Like it doesn't matter how many mixed brown, black, but if the systems are still in place that favor white supremacy, you can be a beautiful Meghan Markle in 2020. I think that's when it happened. In 2020, and in the royal family and be discriminated against. It's the systems of oppression that this country just refuses to actively deal with that must be challenged, must be uprooted, and we must work every day to make sure that happens.
Yes, Lord.
Facts. Yes, Lord.
I mean, that's a great point. I think you should date who you want to date, regardless of your slavery oppression background.
All right.
Fun fact, I did so the watermelon thing. So you know how everybody, the stereotype that black folk like watermelon.
What?
Yeah. So there's the stereotype about black people and watermelon. I found out that watermelon was one of the first products that African Americans could sell and trade or whatever to make a profit, and it was always associated with black people because of that. And so I was like, I was reading that that's where it came from. Was I guess white people were, because black people could only make money from watermelon, it became the nigga and his watermelon. And I was like, wow. That, when you read about how stuff started like that, it's just kind of interesting.
So you're trying to say stereotypes were placed on us?
No, I'm saying that it wasn't because we only ate watermelon. It's because we could only make money from watermelon.
Oh, I wish I had
I got
that
a message.
soundbite.
It's called Hair
We
Club
got to
for
get
Men.
that one.
Listen, yeah, that's
Cool
not a
fun
message.
fact. Nice fun fact.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I realized today is that if you don't stop, and we can get on out of here with this, but if you don't stop when a little girl says, "Do you want to buy Girl Scout cookies?" and buy some cookies, I think you're the devil. Because I bought 2 boxes today, and she really suckered me, but there was no way I could tell her no.
Facts.
There was no way I could tell her no.
Never
Yeah, so what?
I
It's
looked
like
at-
$8 or something.
Yeah, for 2 boxes. I mean, I looked at dead in the
$8
eye,
for
and I
2
said,
boxes, man. Go ahead and support. Man.
how do you do
Small
that?
local
You say
business.
no to some thin mints. that
How
she's
do you
trying to
say no? I mean, she came around and was like, "Mister, do you want to buy some Girl Scout?" I was like, "Yeah, yes sir." Everyone's like, how do you say no? But,
Support the Girl Scouts if you may. They also do sell them at like Dollar General too.
yeah, well,
Different version, different name. They're good.
I didn't even know that.
And listen, I like Thin Mints.
But that
The
money
Thin
doesn't
Mints-
go to
I
the
get
Girl
them all
Scouts.
year round.
That money doesn't go to the Girl Scouts, though. It goes to some owner, CEO that, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
And
and
listen-
putting small business out of business.
And listen, I like Thin Mints, which happen to be the darkest cookie of the.
Yes, sir.
It's the darkest cookie of the Girl Scout
Hey,
cookies.
so that's my
And
favorite.
It wasn't because of my slavery background and generations past. It's because I like Thin Mints.
They fire.
And I like Samoas, and I'm not into like the island so necessarily. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Well, Jason, we found out earlier at the show you're into a lot of different things. So I think that's
All right, hey, lead us off, man. Go ahead.
Interregulation Podcast, episode 11, 12, 13, wherever we're at. Appreciate you watching, commenting. We'll be back next week. We're not going to take another hiatus. We know you guys need us.
Slavery has far-reaching effects.
Yeah. If you want to date somebody white, date somebody white. Black, dark skin, light skin, black. Date what you want to date.
Thank y'all for having
And
me.
we out.
Hey.